I feel like shit.
Monday, happy days. Wednesday, happy days.
It's just one of those
happy days. The weekend comes, a cycle hum.
It's just one of those days where you don't wanna wake up. Everything is everything sucks. You don't really know why, but you wanna justify ripping someone's head off. No human contact, and if you interact, your life is on contract. Your best bet,
Just knock it off, you scum fuckhead.
it's just one of those days. It's just one of those.
Happy days.
It's just one of those.
Happy days.
It's just one of those days.
The weekend comes, a cycle hums. Ready to make stand.
It's just one of those days, feeling like a freight train. First one to complain, leaves with a blood stain. Damn right, I'm a maniac. You better shoot, cause I'm fucking up your program. And you feel stuck up, you just locked up. Next in line to get fucked up. Your best bet is to stay away, motherfucker. It's just,
I'm losing my cool.
it's all about,
Happy days.
it's just one of those,
Happy days.
it's just one of those
Happy
days.
The weekend comes, a cycle hums. Ready to make stand.
Feel like shit. My suggestion is distance. Right now I'm dangerous. Right now I'm dangerous.
Something's happening to the bonds.
My day keeps going this way and this way.
I'm gonna pop you one so you'll stop playing games.
Give me something great. Give me something great. I'm looking over like a chainsaw. A chainsaw. A motherfucking chainsaw.
What?
So come and get it. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chief Moody, and welcome back to the Mood of the Nation podcast, episode 25 to be exact. How is everyone doing this fine Monday evening? I know I was supposed to do it yesterday, but I was out yesterday with PA Scotland doing leafletting. Not leafletting, sorry, that was Saturday. Litter picking yesterday with the lads at PA Scotland. And then after that, I went to my family's house, well, my grandparents' house, to see my mother's aunt because she was coming down for the weekend. So there we go. And I thought, of course, like family comes first than doing like a podcast sort of thing. So I know I've made a message about that on Telegram, and some people have responded to it, which for those guys, thank you very much for being so understanding about that. Because like I said, regarding to that, family does come first, and I really wanted to see them because I don't normally see them a lot, especially in this day and age, of course. But overall, I'm very happy to be back, and hopefully you guys are happy for me to come back also. So no longer taking any breaks until further notice, but this is me going to be coming back full time now from Thursdays and Sundays as per usual. Now for tonight's episode. And there was also going to be the same idea if I were to do it yesterday. I'm only going to be doing this episode just for 1 hour, so 6 o'clock till 7 o'clock. The main reason for that being is because it's just for me to kind of get back in the swing of things, just so that I'm back in the saddle in terms of doing podcasting and so on and so forth. And of course, I know that it's a Monday, and at 7 o'clock on Monday, Sam and Laura are live with Tea Time with Sam and Laura. So by the time, I would say maybe 10 to 6, maybe 5 to, roughly about that time frame, I'll post a link in the chat just for you guys to move over to those particular channels so that you can watch Sam and Laura's live stream this following Monday, or tonight's at 7 p.m. And then, of course, we'll see from there. So let me have a look and see who's in the chat, because, I mean, it's been quite a long time to do like a live stream regarding to that. Well, to be exact, it's maybe like a week and a half or something like that I've been off, but it's great to be back. So let me have a look and see who's in the chat. So we got Budgie Burger, even to you too. We have Jay. Hello, sir. Thank you for watching the show. I really appreciate that, brother. Thank you very much for watching. Is it starting now? We are live, Streaky Bacon. Thank you very much. Amanda Lee, good evening, fellow friends. 14 to you too, Amanda. Thank you for watching. Rory Herbert, even to you too. Yes, I believe it is. Oh, there you go. Let's have a look here. Dorskin, hello, Boyum. Good to see you all. Good to see you too, Dorskin. Thank you for being here. Sensum Cuminum, hello, sir. Thank you for watching the stream. Really appreciate you being here. What Tyler 1381, evening to you too. English Rose, let's see. Hello, Chief. I hope you've had a nice break and much litter was collected yesterday. Thank you very much for the comment, English Rose. Had a pretty decent break from doing live streaming and all of that. And of course, I did enjoy myself doing the litter picking yesterday and also doing doing leafleting on Saturday with the guys from PA Scotland. It was a lot of fun to do. But I'm happy to be back and hopefully more episodes will come the following weeks and so on and so forth. So again, thank you very much for the comment, English Rose. Really appreciate that. Henry Hill, how you all doing? Thank you very much for watching the show. Totally agree. Family first. Thank you very much, Amanda Lee. Let's see. Did the forest survey today again Monday echo Fash vibes? Did the forest survey today? All right, I don't think I've heard about that, Duskin, to be honest with you. But Timmy Bobinson, I can't what you're saying, big man. Oh dear. Hopefully it gets a lot better throughout the show, so we'll definitely see from there. High Tower 005, great to see you. Great to see you too, High Tower. Thank you very much. Let me see who else. James Smith, thank you very much for watching the show, even to you too. I think that's about it in terms of who's here. Kitchen Skillet, thank you very much for watching the show. How you doing? Canny Hinney, thank you very much for watching the show. Peter Walker, thank you very much for watching the show. Jay, let's get this party started. We shall get it started. I was going to say as well, I think tonight's episode, even though it's going to be an hour long, I think tonight's theme is going to be the theme of diversity, and we'll definitely cover that in just a couple of minutes here. Because, I mean, even just today or even yesterday, there's been quite a few things that came out recently which I could not believe for the life of me. So let me see who else. Jojo Gizmo, how you doing? You all right, lads and lasses? Thank you very much for being here, Jojo. Really appreciate you being here. Dragon Energy, hello, sir. How you doing? Or ma'am, I don't know. So, but thank you very much for being here. So, aye, shalom, chief, shalom, brother. How you doing? Aye. Thank you very much for being here. Let me see. What Tyler? That's it. Yep. Oh, Deltatroska 125. I don't think I've seen you before, but thank you very much for watching the show. Your question here, I believe, is Chief Moody, what do you think about the double backtrack on vaccine passports? I have heard about something like that recently because I think something came out with the Scottish government, or not just the Scottish government, but any government for that matter here in the UK, talking about there's going to be some vaccine passports. So if you want to get into these venues like nightclubs, restaurants, and so on and so forth, you need to be having a vaccine passport just to showcase that you've been vaccinated and all that gay shit. And what I've noticed recently is there has been a bit of a backlash to this. So people, of course, are not happy with this whatsoever. So I am happy that there are people out there who are speaking out against this. It is a bit of a white pilling when it comes to that. But again, me just being a bit of a realist here, I don't think that's going to cause any effect with that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they actually might turn it around. I don't know for sure, but it is something I just only briefly looked into with that. I'll see if I can have a look at that further at some point. But overall, I do see that people are waking up to this madness that is the tyrannical takeover regarding to COVID-19. Quite white pilling to say the least regarding to that. So again, we'll just need to wait and see in the future, see anything were to any updates regarding to that for the matter. So let me see here. Streaky Bacon, yes, the tricky subject of diversity is not covered by the mainstream media. Yeah, exactly. So let me see here. Scots Armour, how you doing, sir? Welcome back and good evening, Chief. Evening chat. Thank you very much, Scots Armour. How are you doing, sir? Thank you for watching the show. Let me see. I think that's all up to date with who's in the chat. Yeah, it is all up to date. Excellent. Hopefully I haven't missed out anybody here. But again, it's actually really great to be back. Quite nervous to say the least. But again, the amount of people in the chat just now showcasing their love and support for the show, I really do appreciate that, guys. Thank you very much for being here again. So, because this episode is going to be an hour long, I'm just going to cut right to the chase in terms of the and right into the subject matters at hand here. In terms of the theme of diversity, there's been a couple of videos, couple of announcements I've seen regarding to gaming, especially regarding to the game called God of War Ragnarok. Now, I don't know if anyone in the chat, you guys are much into gaming or anything like that at all, but the reason why I bring this up to begin with is because I would say I used to be a hardcore gamer myself, regarding to that. Hashtag gamers rise up, right? Although I don't normally play games as much anymore. In fact, the last time I played games, because I still got a PlayStation 4, the last time I played it was maybe 3 weeks ago or something like that. But anyway, so but there you go. That's pretty much tells you like the amount of times I play games from time to time and so on and so forth. But anyway, during this week, I had a look into a live stream on the PlayStation channel on YouTube because I figured, well, I got a PlayStation 4. I used to play games a lot, and there was nothing really on. I'll just have it. I'll check it out. Now, of course, there's been a lot of games that have been announced. Some of them are very meh, like never really piqued my interest. Some of them are just very cringy because they're kind of like very hipster, very progressive kind of types of games, if you will. But there have been some pretty big announcements, like I think from Insomniac Games, the guys who made the old Spyro games in the past, and also I think they made Ratchet and Clank, if I'm not mistaken. They just recently announced both Spider-Man 2 and also Marvel's Wolverine, which is not like, of course, instantly going to be like, oh, I need to play these games right now. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. I played Marvel Spider-Man when it first came out in 2017, and it was a lot of fun. But I wouldn't say like it was the best game ever made. But there you go. It's nice to see that those games came out. I haven't played Spider-Man Miles Morales because I have no interest with that whatsoever. Mainly because there was a there was a BLM memorial section on a building in the game. So in Miles Morales, you play as think of it as like a follow-up to the first Spider-Man game. Basically, it's Spider-Man 1.1. Instead of playing as Peter Parker or actual Spider-Man, you play as Miles Morales, who's basically a how can I describe it? He's basically he's a biracial character, so he's basically half black, half Portuguese, or half Hispanic, I believe. Because I guess trying to double the diversity, if you will. And in Spider-Man Miles Morales, as I said, there was a memorial in the game that's all like very pro Black Lives Matter. Get it? Because the character you play as is half black, so of course they need to throw that in there. So there you go. He's Token Man. Yeah, he's basically a token character, to say the least. So that was pretty much it regarding to that game. I've never played Miles Morales, nor do I have any interest whatsoever. But they've announced Spider-Man 2 and also Marvel's Wolverine. So Wolverine is going to be pretty interesting. Again, if more info comes out with it, I might have a look into it, but we'll definitely see from there. But there was another big announcement with the PlayStation live stream, which was God of War Ragnarok. Now, for those who don't know, back in 2018, there was a little game called God of War that was a pretty big hit when it came out. Even though it was called God of War, technically speaking, it's the overall fourth game in the series, although there's been many games that came out in the past. But in terms of the chronology of the games, technically you can call it God of War 4, even though it kind of plays out like it's not required to play the original games, but it does help in terms of the bigger context regarding to it. But for me, regarding to God of War, I've played it. I thought it was okay. Like, it wasn't like the best game I've ever played, but I remember seeing people talking about how, it's like the greatest game of all time, and this is like such a masterpiece and all of that. And I remember thinking like playing it, I'm just like, yeah, like, okay, great. Like, but I mean, it's good, but I don't think it's like the best game ever made. I just think it's such a complete difference when it comes to comparing the new 2018 God of War game to the older games, because tonally they're very different. And I think people tend to love the newer God of War game because Kratos in the game is basically a depressing douchebag at this point. So it's like, oh, I love this character because he's a depressing fuck. So there we go, 10 out of 10. It's like, okay. So let me see here. So of course, even with that, they announced a sequel, which is God of War Ragnarok. Now, even though the game has been, it wasn't announced a year ago or something like that, but there's been speculation as to Santa Monica, the developers of the game, they were going to make a sequel to God of War 2018. Now, again, as I said, I wasn't a fan of the first game, but I was open to the idea of having a sequel to it, because instead of the original games being taking place in Greek mythology, God of War 2018, which again, as I said, technically should be called God of War 4, is now taking place in Asgard, and it's all about Norse mythology instead of Greek mythology, which I thought would have been pretty interesting, to say the least, regarding to that. So the trailer came out for it. I had to watch it. I watched the trailer, and at first I thought, this is really good. This is really well done. Makes me excited to play the game and all of that, until it gets to one specific moment towards the end of the trailer. And also there's been character artwork that's came out regarding to the character Thor. Now, of course, this is nothing to do with the Marvel Comics Thor. This is the original Norse mythology Thor regarding to it. So let me just point out the trailer. I'll see if I can also mute the sound just so it doesn't get hit by copyright or anything like that, because we know that, I think PlayStation, the YouTube channel is very stringent regarding to copyright infringement or anything like that at all. Let me have a look and see if I can find the trailer, because I don't know if any of you guys have seen this, but when I first saw this trailer, again, towards the end, I was just like, why is this character is in Asgard? And I'll show you guys in a minute. Let me see if I can get here. Mute the audio. So, of course, let me just also screen share just now and see from here. Share the audio as well. Well, even though it's not going to be requiring audio or anything like that, but let's have a look here. I've also noticed in the chat, some of the flags have been censored. Let me have a look here. What the fuck? Yeah, Scots flag is censored. That's different. I wonder if, English, Welsh, and Scottish flags censor. I don't know why YouTube is doing that. That's really bizarre, but really bizarre they're doing that. Let me have a look here and see here. I've got the trailer up here. Now, I won't play the full trailer, of course. This is just like, a couple of scenes from here. Of course, we've got the gameplay, kind of, in this case. I don't know why it's come up with captions. I'll turn that off. So you notice that most of the characters are white, again, because it's set in Asgard or part of the whole Norse mythology and whatnot, until you get to this part of the trailer. Just, right, I want you all to be prepared, right? So this is towards the end of the trailer, right? And like I said, notice how all the characters are white, mainly white in this case, until you get to this part, and be prepared for this, folks. There's a fucking jogger in God of War, especially in the setting of Asgard in this game. When I first saw this, I was just like, why is there a jogger in Asgard? It's supposed to be a... I know it's supposed to be like not real. It's maybe part of mythology and whatnot, but the whole point of Norse mythology is, if I remember correctly, I think it's a mythology for Scandinavian origins or something to that extent. Again, I might be completely wrong on that, but it's kind of part of like Northern Europe or something along those lines. Again, not to be claiming to be an expert on Norse mythology or anything like that at all, but when I think of Norse mythology, when I think of that type of storytelling and all of that, I would tend to think that most of the characters in Norse mythology would be majority white. But here you have, in this trailer, you have a character who is a jogger. Now, what's funny is in this case is that the character in question, this character on the screen right here, in the original Norse mythology, it's not black. It's actually meant to be a white character. And what was the character's name again? I think it was like, it wasn't like something like Agaroth or anything like that at all, or something along those lines. Wait a minute. Let me see. But I just also want to showcase again that this is another case example of people just trying to minority wash white characters, or historically speaking, white characters. Right, I think I've got the character's name here, if it'll let me play it just now. And of course, I'm playing this on my phone at the moment here, just to help out. Angraboda, I think you pronounce it. Right, let me see if I can go back here real quick. Let me see. Just as Viking as Thor. Yeah, I know, right? It's ridiculous. Right. Angraboda. Let me see here. I'll even also put in Norse mythology again, just to make sure. Mythology. Let me see here. Yep, no spelling mistakes with that. Right, that's fine. Perfect. Okay, so what we'll do here just now is just to give you guys a bit of a comparison, right? So this is the Angraboda character within the God of War Ragnarok for, I think it's maybe coming out next year or something like that, but who's a token black character, as you can clearly see. Here I have a search list of that same character from the original Norse mythology. What exactly here are you noticing just now? What's the common factor here regarding to this page with the search results with regarding to this character? She's white. Every interpretation, every drawing here, every painting here that you can clearly see of this character is that she's a white character within the original Norse mythology, but in the new God of War Ragnarok game, she's portrayed as black, which is incredibly ironic because they always talk about how, oh, we're so sick and tired of tokenism and having the characters be or having that one character be black or Asian or so on and so forth. Well, I know this is only meant to be the reveal trailer. There's like nothing, any significant other characters who are non-white at this point. But if she's supposed to be the only character in this entire game who's black, at that point you've made her into a token regarding to that. Oh wait, have I shared the screen? Oh, I have not. Sorry, hold on one sec. Sorry about that. Yeah, so here's the search results for the original. Again, Angraboda. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. This is her original look within the original Norse mythology, as I said before, portrayed as white. I think she's supposed to be a giant, and she's part of the giant tribe or people within Norse mythology. But the point here is she's a white person or a white character, but as I said, in the new God of War, she's portrayed as black. Oh, it's all part of this whole. What's the whole tokenism regarding to this? So it's just so ridiculous. And that at that point after that trailer, I'm just like, right, I'm not gonna buy this game. I have no interest in buying it whatsoever. The only time I'll ever play the game is if I were to play it for free. I'm not spending any money regarding to it whatsoever. It's just ridiculous, like changing characters who are meant to be white characters or part of a white mythology, but then changing it up just for the sake of diversity. It's completely disgusting. Meanwhile, if you were to try to do it the other way around, say for example, if there was a black character, it's like, oh, why don't we try and change the race of that character to white or Asian or Jewish or anything like that at all? There would be a massive backlash, like, oh, how dare you? You can't do that. Like, you can't change the character's race, but changing a white character to a non-white character, oh no, that's totally fine. That's completely fine. We're not setting an agenda of anti-white hatred or anything like that whatsoever, right? It's completely disgusting, in my opinion. Completely disgusting. So at that point, I have lost all interest of the game regarding to that whatsoever. I'm not going to be buying that. Then there was another thing regarding to God of War Ragnarok with the character Thor. Now, I have a question for you guys in the chat when it comes to Norse mythology, especially regarding to Thor. Now, I know there's two kinds of Thors that are part of popular culture just now. The one that's part of Norse mythology, the original Norse mythology, and there is the Thor that everyone knows from the Marvel movies or the Marvel Cinematic Universe or Marvel Studios, whatever you want to call it. I'm not going to be talking about the Marvel Thor interpretation. I'm going to be talking about, in this case, in this context for God of War Ragnarok, I'm going to be talking about the original Norse mythology Thor version. Now, when it comes to Thor, in regards to the original Norse character, when you think of, because I know there's talks about like different interpretations of the character and all this and that, I like to ask you guys this one question, right? If you all were writing a piece about Norse mythology, and if you got the character Thor, what would be your interpretation of Thor? And in your opinion, would you interpret him as this like strong, hammer wielding, long haired, like blonde type of character with like lightning all around him, or anything like that at all? Because I think it's because what I'm going to be showing you guys in just a short minute, I think really showcases the problems that this game is going to be facing. Because I think this interpretation of Thor in this new game, a lot of people are very mixed about it. It's either people love the new design, or there's other people who really hate the new design. And while you guys are going to be answering that in the chat, let me just see if I can find the new Thor for the game. Let me see here. Right, okay, hold on. Just have a look at that. Right, okay, that's from the first game, but let me see if I can find new one here. Let me see. I wonder where that's about, because it should be showcasing here. Right, that's one image. Okay, so that's one of them. But I'm looking to see if I can find the full scale image of it. Because when I first seen this design, I was really disappointed with this interpretation of Thor. I thought Thor was going to be like a massive badass, but apparently they decided to go the completely different route regarding to Thor in the new God of War game. So let me see if I can find that image for you guys. Hold on a sec. Right. Okay. So I've got the image up here. And let me just see if I can find your comments. Yeah, I'm seeing some people, English Sailor, Thor would be drummer. That's completely fair. I imagine Thor looking like the golden one. Oh, again, that's totally fair. I would imagine so. Like the golden one being a real life equivalent of Thor. They struck a black dude in Asgard in those Thor movies. Yeah, I think it was with what's that character's name? Is Idris Elba plays? Yeah, I know that the character originally is not black, but he's a white character. But again, it's all part of that whole minority, as I call it, minority washing on white characters. Let me see. The God of Thunder has red hair and red beard. Fair enough. Tall, white blonde with hammer. Again, it's fair enough. We was Valhalla and she. Chief Moody, is this video about computer games? Because I think they are effing evil poison. I never touched one, nor my daughter tell me, and I will butt out. No, well, this portion of the game is about this particular new game. This is not about video games or anything like that at all. The reason why I bring up this new God of War game, because I think it ties into the overall theme of diversity. So I'll talk about this a little bit more, and then we'll get into the next part of the video here. So let me have a look here and see regarding to this interpretation of Thor. So, okay, so I've got some answers here. So the majority of you guys envisioned Thor as the strong, masculine, tall man with long blonde hair with a hammer and, of course, lightning, either on his hammer or all across his body, so on and so forth. Totally fair point. Even going as far as saying Thor would look like someone like the Golden One, for instance. Again, completely fair. Let me show you guys the game's interpretation of Thor. Let me also see if I can get a closer look at this as well. if it'll let me or not. Hold on. So I don't know if you guys can see that real well because it's not like, oh wait, full screen. Oh, okay, well that's the full screen there, of course. But that's going to be what Thor looks like in the new game, apparently. So basically, a fat, slobby douchebag who you cannot take seriously whatsoever. Now, I guess they got the hair color somewhat right, because I know when it comes to the hair color, some people interpret it as blonde, some people interpret it as brown or brunette, or sometimes people interpret it as ginger or redhead type of thing. But let me ask you guys another question in the chat. See if you were by yourself, you're minding your own business, walking on the street or anything like that at all, and then you get confronted with Thor. Now, if this person were to be right in front of you, would you take this person seriously? Because let me tell you something, I can't take this seriously. I cannot take this Thor seriously for the life of me. This is just such a departure of what has been interpreted for many, many years. This is just such a joke of a character. I can see some people in the comments saying like, is Thor pregnant? No, that's Thor is meant to be fat in this interpretation of the original Norse mythology. There has been an article I've read earlier on. I can't remember exactly who written the article. I don't know if it was meant to be IGN or anything like that at all. But basically, they wrote an article about this reveal, talking about how it's so great seeing Thor as not like your typical muscular handsome guy portrayed in the other in the previous interpretations with the Norse mythology or anything like that. But we're so happy that he's being portrayed as this fat, disgusting douchebag. Because again, it's all part of this whole body positivity, again, part of the whole diversity thing, right? Body positivity and all of that. This is such a joke. This is such a complete, blatant joke of the original Norse mythology. And it's kind of something that happened similar to that happened in one of the Marvel movies. I think it was Avengers Endgame, I think it was. Where you had Thor. And I know that's the Marvel's interpretation of the character Thor, but from the original Norse mythology. But I think again, it's very telling that the way they're portraying the character of Thor as this lazy fat slob that no one should take seriously. It's a joke. It's a complete joke regarding to that. Let me have a look here and see who's seen what in the chat, because I think there's quite a reaction regarding to that, like Dragon Energy. Jesus, that's horrible. Thor should be a total golden one chat. He should be. That's how I interpret Thor, which is so funny because again, there's been people commenting with this design, talking about how it's like this is like the original, like the original interpretation from the original Norse text or Norse mythology. But even then, just like with the other character I talked about earlier on, let me see if I can find this here. I had to look into the original interpretation of the Norse myth regarding to the character Thor. Mythology. Let me also see if I can share the screen real quick. Again, I just want to showcase this as well because from the drawings, from paintings and all of that, let me have a look here and see if I can bring this up real quick from Thor. Again, comparing the new game's interpretation to this original Norse mythology take on the character. Don't know if I get the images up here real good, but you can kind of see that from here. Notice how the original interpretation of the original Norse version is a long blonde or brunette or redhead with muscles or regarding to that. Not like a fat schlob or anything like that at all. And yeah, there we go. Again, it's very telling. It's very telling, like what they're trying to do here. So let me just get back into that real quick. Here we go. And it's such an embarrassment. It really is such an embarrassment. Let me see what's also been said here. Thor seems to have middle age spread. Well, I can kind of see that. I can kind of see that, to be honest. He'd be no match for Sam Melia. I would imagine, like, if this person was a real life character and whatnot. I mean, yeah, Sam would have no problem taking down this fella, or at least this interpretation of Thor whatsoever. So, SMH, they didn't make Thor a black wheelchair transgender, not inclusive enough. Well, yeah, it's just not inclusive enough. You're right, not inclusive enough. Thank God they haven't gone after Irish myths yet. We still have Chuculain. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. One badass dude equivalent to Thor. If I haven't pronounced that right, my apologies regarding to that. Let me see here. Nymphophilist, what are we talking about, boys? We're just briefly talking about diversity, especially at first we're talking about the new game that's just been announced called God of War Ragnarok, in terms of Thor no longer being a muscular, handsome Norse god, but instead he's basically a fat schlub. And we're also talking about another character, Angerboda, I hope I pronounced that right, who in the original Norse mythology is a white character, but in the new game, she's portrayed as a jogger. So, because again, diversity and whatnot. Let me have a look here and see that just now. What's also being said? No name, they're going to inject children who would never get sick or die from COVID, and more of those kids will die from the injection rather than COVID. Unreal. Yeah, I could definitely see that. There's been many news articles coming out where that apparently if you're someone who's already been vaccinated, apparently you're more likely to be affected by COVID rather than if you're unvaccinated, which once again that really says something regarding to that. I can't really find the article in question at the moment, but I'll see if I can bring that up on Thursday's episode. We'll cover that a lot more. There was another thing regarding to COVID I've seen recently with the country of Israel. Now, let me just talk about that real quick. Apparently, Israel are not allowing people who have already been vaccinated to enter the country, which again, that really says something regarding to that. Which again, I don't have the article in hand just now, but I'll see if I can find that article and I'll see if I can talk about that or on Thursday's episode if you guys want, and then of course we'll see from there. What was another thing I was going to talk about? Oh yeah, there was one thing I wanted to talk about today or tonight. I can't believe I almost forgot about this because I was going to talk about this at the start of the show. It's a question I like to ask you guys in the chat. How many of you have or are parents or grandparents and have kids or even grandchildren, and how many of your children or grandchildren watch YouTube? Now, the reason I asked that is because there was a certain video I've watched recently that I think is completely disgusting. It's not anything explicit or anything like that at all, but the channel in question is a very, very big channel, and I think it has a lot of younger fans or younger viewers who watch that type of content. Hold on, Vlad, let me just have a quick sip of my juice real quick. The channel in question is called Sidemen. I never heard of this channel before, but it's a channel that has a group of guys or other YouTubers, like big name YouTubers. Despite the fact the only member in the group I've ever heard of before is KSI, but that's pretty much it. They recently did a video that really, I just honestly couldn't believe it for the life of me in regard to that. Let me have a look here and see. Dragon Energy. Look up Chuculain. I hope I'm not pronouncing that right. Irish equivalent to Thor, Total Warrior, Badass Chad. What I'll do is I'll just write that in here just now. I'll have a look at that just a sec. And then what I'll do first of all is I'll see if I can bring up the new Sidemen video real quick. Because when I looked at this video, I did want to cover this for the channel as well. But the problem was I really did not want it to come off as a total Karen regarding to this. But I think because of the channel called Sidemen, that has a massive following, especially when it comes to younger viewers, and they promote this type of content. It's really shocking in my opinion. But let me just see if I can bring this up just now. So I'll just get up YouTube real quick, and I'll see if I can find their channel. I also want to say real quick, if you guys, as I said, parents or grandparents, and your children watch YouTube on a regular basis, I think you should be careful, really watch out what your kids are watching on YouTube. So let me just share the screen real quick and show you guys this real quick. Hold on one second. I'll share audio just in case. And yeah, but sharing, right. So here we go. What I'll also do is increase the screen real quick. It's the top video in question. Sidemen versus OnlyFans Olympics. Now, I just also want you, again, I really don't want to come off as a massive Karen at this point of the video, but I just think it's very important that you guys in the chat who are parents or grandparents and your kids or grandkids normally watch YouTube, especially if they watch this type of content, I think you should look out for the stuff they watch, especially if they're subscribed to the channel called Sidemen, because I think something like this. And again, I've watched the video just for prosperity's sake regarding to that. There's nothing really explicit about it, but I just think it's just something that really shouldn't be in this type of video in terms of what type of content you normally see on OnlyFans. I think it's quite disgusting to have a channel that has a large following, as I said, many of them being really young, would stumble across another type of content like OnlyFans, because a video like this, they're going to end up looking into OnlyFans to think, well, what's OnlyFans? And then they'll have a look into that further. So I think it's quite disgusting. And again, if I come off as like a Karen regarding to that, I apologize, but I just think it's quite disgusting regarding to that regarding to that in this case. So 2 boys not really into YouTube, that's totally fine, no worries. 4 children all watch YouTube. If that's the case, I would definitely look out of the stuff they watch, especially with that kind of stuff. I'm glad I don't have kids. Well, at the moment, Henry, that's totally fine. On the plus side, none of my kids watch normal TV. Fair enough. Again, but I would say be on the lookout for what your kids watch on YouTube, because the type of content YouTube is promoting, because I think there was something that YouTube was heavily promoting. I know some of the guys from PA and other nationalist content creators were showcasing as well. There was this channel, I think it was like a pro-LGBT channel that was really pushing all of the LGBT stuff regarding to that. It was really disgusting, to the point where I was like, how is this channel not even demonetized or even being taken down for inappropriate content? Because of course we all know that YouTube as a platform, it's very stringent in terms of content. You know, they try to be like all family friendly and all of that, but at this point in time, because how leftist YouTube has become as a platform, they're now trying to promote stuff like, you know, channels like Sidemen, channels like the channel I described earlier on, and so on and so forth, pro LGBT, pro BLM, and all of that. It's absolutely really disgusting in my opinion regarding to that. Sarah Moore, how you doing, sir? Do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore, lest the land fall to whoredom and the land become full of wickedness. Yep, I agree. Fair thing to say. This is what happened to the West. Oh no, I definitely agree with that, especially with all of this whole OnlyFans stuff going on, which I don't want to cover OnlyFans tonight, because I did say that. Well, it's not a case of I did say, but in the past, before I did Mood of the Nation, there was 2 live streams I did about me talking about the porn industry and how bad of an industry it really is. So there was 2 parts to that, and I did say in the past that I was going to make part 3, which is still coming regarding to that. I think it's a case of if I can get some more time to do some more research into that, and then of course work from there, because I think one of the major topics to talk about in part 3 is going to be OnlyFans, because part 1 was about an introductory type of stream where it talks about the porn industry, the bad effects it causes to both people within the industry and people outside of the industry who are just watching from within, kind of an idea. Then part 2 was more about the people within the industry, their experiences, both good and bad, but mostly bad, regarding to their own personal experiences being a porn star and all of that. And I think part 3 is more not just going to be like the big finale, but I think it's mostly going to cover the modern stuff. So, of course, like I said, OnlyFans in this case. So I'll definitely see. I won't make part 3 as another episode of Moody the Nation. That's going to be completely separate. I might even have to do that as like a recorded thing, but I'm not entirely too sure of that. But definitely part 3 is going to be coming in terms of the anti-porn streams, if you want to call it that. So porn is against God. I'm not religious myself, but I can definitely agree to that. It's very wicked, the porn industry, because as an industry, and even the people who try to defend it, they're very they're very delusional, to say the least. And of course, if you haven't seen the 2 episodes in the past, I would definitely recommend watching those 2 episodes. You could easily find them on my channel. If you click on my channel, you could see 2 videos called "Let's Talk About the Porn Industry" or something to that extent. They're quite long. I think they're about 2 to 3 hours long, but if you have enough time, then they're there for you to watch, or even just click on watch later and then of course see from there. So but definitely part 3 will be coming at some point. Again, not entirely too sure when exactly, but it is coming, to say the least. We're almost coming towards the end. Right, what I'll do is I'll see if I can finish off one last part when it comes to the whole diversity theme, because it's something that I've watched recently on Twitter. In fact, I think I watched this on yesterday, and I was pretty angry, to say the least, when I watched this video. It's absolutely disgusting, and also it's so disgusting that I want you all to be prepared for this, because this really angered me in this case. In fact, let's also have a quick look at the Irish character, Dragon Energy recommended. Hold on one sec. To just share that as well, and then even we get sharecase Twitter. So hope I pronounced it right. Chuculain, I hope I pronounced that right. This is the Irish equivalent to Thor, as Dragon Energy said in the chat. I think it was Dragon Energy, but yeah, even just look at the character design, yeah, total Chad of the character. So it looks like it's a cross between Irish and also Scottish, but no, that's pretty based in my opinion. Very based. It's also a Marvel character as well. All right, fair enough. Let me see. Cool. Thank you very much for that, Dragon Energy. I'll see if I can also have a look into that much further. So. Right, anyway, let's have a look at the video in question. This one, I watched this yesterday and I was completely disgusted. Don't know if you guys have seen this as well, but just be prepared once I get this up. Yes, this one, right. Okay, let me just showcase that here. Oops. Right, full screen that. Let's pause. Right, perfect. So like I said, just be prepared, because I was really angry watching this video. So let's just have a gander at this real quick. So 3, 2, 1.
Oh, you's hungry. I'd advise you to go in the kitchen and fix yourself something to eat. I said I advise you to go in the kitchen and fix yourself something to eat.
I'm so hard here.
So that's that. Even though it's only 30 seconds long, but it's it's just, this is supposed to be a type of person who's meant to be helping these older people, right? But then you have this complete douchebag of a person doing that to an old person. It's completely disgusting, absolutely disgusting. I don't understand what's the whole point of it. Like, is this supposed to be some kind of that's the film. Hold on, Chuculain, right? That's how you pronounce it, right? Okay, yeah, very base, lots of Scots influence. Fair enough. Thank you very much for that. But yeah, again, it's just, is that supposed to be something that's meant to make that guy look good or something like that, like some kind of political point scoring or regarding to that as well? It's unbelievable. But like, he's eating chicken, and of course the older guy sitting opposite of him, and then the nurse, I guess you want to call him, is being all condescending and whatnot, and then Dragon Energy. Yeah, the old guy's probably a US Marine, could kill him in 30 seconds. Jesus Christ. Man. Even Thank the Lord, thank you very much for watching. Is that the next X-Men Marks and Spencer's ad? Oh, I don't know, mate. I really don't know. Apparently, it's meant to be a comedy. I checked the account and the video is not there. Right. It's a comedy. Yeah, I would imagine so, that they would try to use that as some kind of defense mechanism. Oh no, I wasn't being serious. I was just joking. It's just a prank, bro. You know, it's like, just get the fuck out of here. Because I can imagine some people did call them out for it, and it's like, well, hold on a minute, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And then of course his whole defense is, oh, it's just a joke. It's just a prank, bro. I didn't mean it. Like, fuck off. If it was the other way around, right? If it was the other way around, if it was a white nurse doing that to an older black elderly person, it would, if they were doing that to an older black person, it would have been blasted on the news constantly. You would never hear the end of it. If that was a relative, he would be in hospital drinking chicken soup for months. Exactly. So, one in the chat if you found the video funny. I highly doubt people are going to press one in the chat because of that, but the video was missing some. No, no. That to me is a fair post trap in order for folk in our circles to jump on it and then to have it debunked. It's so gratuitous that it has to be fake. Yeah, I could definitely see that sense. I could definitely see that regard to that in this case. Let me see here. English Rose. Oh goodness, I hate these videos. It's so upsetting. These poor people are completely helpless, and these vile creatures abuse them. Comedy. Oh, that's hilarious. I know, right? It's absolutely disgusting the way our people are being treated, especially our older people are being treated. I really don't want to get into the other videos in question in the past where there was another nurse. I don't know if it was in the same nursing home, but it was a completely different nursing home in a different state in America. But there was something similar happened, but way worse, where this black nurse was like punching the older white people. I don't really know why exactly they're doing it. I guess it's supposed to be some kind of political reasons for that, because as a way of of getting back for what they did to black people, or I don't know. It's just disgusting, because again, if the shoe was on the other foot, right? If it was white nurses doing that to older black people, then it would have been blasted on the news. You would never hear you would never hear the end of it. He wasn't in the same room as a reenactment of a movie scene, or was it? Oh, well. Anyway, that's. Hold on one sec. Yes, they are docs. Dusk and all good. That was real. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, it's definitely horrible. Definitely horrible. But anyway, folks, I know this is very cut short, but as I said, this episode was going to be an hour long, and it's just approaching to 7:00. And of course, Sam and Laura will be live in just a couple of minutes. So what I will do now is I will post the links in the chat just now. Let me see if I can find them here on my phone. So, Ceremony, Revenge for Slavery, and the Reward for Ending It. Right? Yeah, I can definitely see that. Definitely see that. Let me see if I can find them here. Right, so I've got the link for Odyssey. Right, that's fine. I'll also see if I can mute that on my phone. Paste that here. Let me see if it's coming up on my screen just now. It should be popping up in just a sec with the link. And then whilst I'm at it, I'll get the link for the D Live. It's popped up. Yeah, perfect. Where are Sam and Laura? Odyssey or D Live? They'll be on both. So what I will do, Dragon Energy, is I'll post both the links for Odyssey and also the links for Laura's D Live. So let me see if I can post them here in the chat. While I'm also at it, if you have any questions you'd like to ask to both either Sam or Laura, I'll also post the entropy link in the chat as well. So if you have any questions to ask them, the entropy link will be there in just a couple of seconds, and you can ask away in that link just now. So there we go. That's the links in the chat just now. So yeah, head on over there and tell them I've sent you, of course, regarding to that. So I want to thank you all very much for watching. I know this has been really short, but again, it's just to get back into the swing of things regarding to that. But hopefully for Thursday, it will be all back to normal with 2 hours long, and then we'll cover more topics regarding to that episode. So overall, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate you guys' support. Is that even a word? No, it's not a word, guys. Sorry about that. I'm just going to share the screen here real quick so I can play out an outro song as, you know,